G'day guys, it's good to see you again. This is I Read Reddit, and today I'm going to be reading some Entitled Parent stories. If you're new to the channel, then welcome. I upload here daily, and if you've got the fear of missing out, then you better smash that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications. Now pull up a chair and get comfy, you're going to love this one.
When I was 16, I worked at the amusement park in my city. It wasn't a big one, but it wasn't small either. Most of our rides were aimed towards elementary school-aged children, though we had a few older kids as well. Anyways, I was a rides operator, and that day I was assigned to a ride designed for older kids. We had to measure the kids, and they couldn't go on if they were under the height requirements, no matter what. Even if they had a parent with them, because it was a ride that only had a bar that went across your stomach, so someone too small could easily fall off. The entitled mother, who we'll call EM, and her brat are in line, and I can already tell the kid's going to be too short to ride, even without having to measure him. He's pretty far back, so I know it's going to be 1 or 2 more runs before he makes it on. So after I'm done loading, I tell the mother that her kid's too short for the ride, and that she should go try the smaller version of it, on the other side of the park. She looks at me with the dirtiest stare ever and just says, "We're gonna wait here." Now, I have to run my ride because I need to meet certain times, so I don't argue. Time goes by, and she's finally at the start of the line. I measure her kid, and of course, he's like 6 inches shorter than the height requirements. I say to her, "I'm sorry ma'am, but your child is too short to ride this ride. I would recommend going over to the smaller version near the entrance of the park though." "No, it's fine. I'm with him, I'll hold him." She tries to shove me out of the way, but I'm standing my ground. "I'm really sorry ma'am, but we don't allow people under the height limit to ride this ride. The safe tires we have on it just won't hold someone too small, and your kid could fall off and die a horrible, horrible death." She then asks me to speak to my manager. I get asked that quite a lot by entitled parents, so I give them a call and tell her to wait on the side while I load my ride. She gets very offended, saying that she shouldn't have to wait longer for her kid to ride this ride because I couldn't do my job. And at this point, I kind of just ignore her and move on. Ride runs, my team leader gets there and talks with her. He tells her that he's really sorry, but that I'm right, her child can't ride this ride. Now at this point the brat is throwing a tantrum, and I mean, he's rolling on the concrete like a piece of bacon in a frying pan. I'm trying my hardest not to laugh at this point. Anyways, my lead apologizes, offers her a skip the line ticket for the ride he's allowed to go on at the entrance, and leaves. The entitled mom is trying to calm down the brat, and starts talking to him. He gets up, all smiling and happy, and stands next to the gates, watching me. Now, I'm not thinking too much of it at this point, so I start loading my ride again, which has a significantly less busy line, and I have a couple of empty seats on it. As I'm doing my security checks and getting ready to run it, the mum taps me on the shoulder and thanks me for my help, which I found extremely odd. I turned around and tell her that it's not really a problem, and she starts apologizing and telling me that she shouldn't have acted the way that she did, and blah blah blah. I'm completely stunned, not really sure how to react, but I tell her it's no problem and to enjoy the rest of her day. I look back at my ride and realize that the brat isn't standing next to the fence anymore. I'm starting to get weird vibes. I look around for him and he's nowhere to be seen. I look at the mum again, who was on her phone out with her camera, pointing at the ride, and that's when I knew. I take my keys out the ride and start walking towards it. It's kind of a swing type of thing, so I couldn't see the back of it where I was standing, but I knew that dang well the entitled brat had snuck on. Entitled mum starts panicking, asking me what I'm doing and why I'm not running the ride. I completely ignore her and walk to the back of the ride, and lo and behold, the brat is sitting there. He almost craps himself when he sees me walking towards him. He didn't have the bar properly locked at all, and it would have flown right out as soon as I started the ride. Now, I'm mad, and I mean mad. I mean, I could have gone to jail for manslaughter right then and there. I just look at him and very sternly tell him to get off my ride. He tells me he can't and he needs help, which is fair. I mean, I don't even know how he managed to get on in the first place. But I grabbed him and put him down, and he starts sprinting towards his mum crying. As he's running, he trips down and falls on his face. When he gets up, his nose is all bloody and his knees are skinned, which is when I knew I was completely and utterly fudged. The entitled mum starts screaming like a banshee at the sight. As I'm running towards the kid to make sure he's not dead and to help him up, she runs towards me, slaps me hard across the face, and starts yelling for security. I'm absolutely and completely stunned at this point. Some security guards must have heard her screaming at the top of her lungs because they come running, and the exchange goes something like this. Security guard is SG.
What's going on here? This girl assaulted my son. She threw him off the ride and onto the pavement.
Excuse me? Did she really want them to believe I just yeeted her child 10 feet away from where he was sitting?
It's true. She punched me too.
Do you want us to call the police?
Yes! You need to arrest her. She's mentally unstable.
I'm just dumbfounded at this point. My lead gets to the ride and asks what the heck is going on, and I tell him everything that happened in between sobs. There's one thing the mother forgot to take into account though. There were like 15 people on the ride who saw everything. So they tell the police and the security guards, and my lead and everyone else what happened. And the entitled mother quickly realized her error, as she just started running with her kid in tow as soon as she saw people asking the other guests questions. They caught her pretty quickly, and I pressed assault charges against her. Needless to say, I handed in my resignation that same day. So this literally happened 30 minutes ago. To explain some basic things, I'm 20 years old at the moment, and I have a condition where a certain part of my body is very much exposed, since it's very, very sensitive, and by sensitive I mean you touch it I scream. To clarify, it's not my pee-pee that's hanging out, it's my lower back. So, cast and crew, entitled mother, demon child, me, and helpful doctor. I was sitting at the doctor's as I'm in incredible pain. Walking and standing up is nearly impossible. Sitting isn't comfortable, but it's okay. The only real comfort I have is when I lay down on my back. Anyways, I was sitting there, waiting for my name to be called, as I was already sitting for a while, and I just wanted to be done with. That's where the entitled mum and the devil child make their entrance. They sit down across from me, and I notice the little boy pointing at and obviously talking about me. I was already embarrassing enough that I have to sit like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, plus, as I mentioned, the exposed body part.
He looks stupid. Shush, sweetie. You don't say things like that out loud.
The moment I heard that, I knew what kind of mother she was. I turned away, grabbing a magazine to get some distraction. I hear DC running around the waiting room, stopping beside me several times to run away in laughter. Suddenly, I feel a pain so bad that I almost cried. Bloody heck! As I turn around, only to see the devil child poking at my exposed body, I push him away and he falls on his butt. Mind you, he fell and just sat down on the floor looking for his mother. He looked at me again and started to cry.
What have you done to him?
He punched me on my arm. What? I just pushed him away. I couldn't even finish the sentence. I'm not kidding when I said the entitled mother's face was only a few centimeters away from my own face.
Who do you think you are hurting my child? He was just playing.
Even though I'm in a great pain, I stood up. Listen, I only gave him a slight push. I am in great pain, and he basically only made it worse by touching me. I'm sorry, I didn't want to hurt him, it was just a reflex.
How dare you? My child would never hurt anyone. Plus, you don't even know what pain is. Have you ever given birth to a child? That is pain, so don't pretend to me that you know anything.
I was ticked. One could clearly see that I wasn't lying. I had tears in my eyes, my face red, and my breathing was heavy. All this was noticed by a doctor who entered the waiting room. What happened? Is everything alright?
This dreadful man here hit my child. You need to call the police now.
Then, an old lady who sat there during the whole thing came over and said, "This little boy hurt this young man. He just pushed him away so he would stop." I see. I'm sorry, insert my name here. Would you like me to call the police? I was just as surprised as the entitled mother. No, it'd be fine if they would just say sorry.
You are all horrible people. You were here from my lawyer. Say goodbye to your business.
The mum grabbed the devil child by the arm and pulled him out the door. The devil child showed me his middle finger and started crying again. Just so you know, I would be in the perfect position to press charges, and I'm seriously thinking about it. The doctor said that because of the pressure the little boy put on my body, he could have done some serious damage. Luckily, it was only minor. If anything else will come up because of this, I'll update you. A couple of years ago, I'd started working in the front office of a collision repair center. Let's call it Fix-It Queen. The shop specialized in fixing damaged cars from auto accidents, but sometimes had to take on mechanical repair work as well. We had, at the time, 2 mechanics with about 50 years of combined experience and certifications, 4 or 5 painters, 3 detail guys to wash and vacuum cars, and 8 repair technicians. My job was to estimate the damage, submit our estimated cost to the customer or insurance company, whoever was paying, and secure payment for the estimate. This took place in January or February, after a recent snowfall. The customer, I'll call her Emma, came in with 2 small children, probably no older than 6 or 7 years old. Her accident hadn't injured the children, but her Audi SUV had slid on a path of ice and struck a guardrail, damaging the back quarter panel and both doors. As part of the customer process, I introduced myself and sat down to discuss a few things with her. I basically knew she was going to be trouble when her first remark was, "Oh, you're the guy I'm supposed to be talking to. I thought I had someone, different." I let the implication of the statement go, laughed it off, and explained the repair process. I asked if she was having her car repaired at our shop, and she said she had questions. "Did we use Audi parts?" Yes, we had a deal with a local Audi dealership and used their parts store for Audi and several other high-end vehicles. "How long would repairs take?" "Less than 2 weeks. Everything needed to be replaced, then repainted to match. We would check all the doors and sensors, and even test drive her car before calling her to state that it was fixed." "Were the repairs guaranteed?" "Yes. For as long as she owned the car, we would guarantee any paint and parts put on her car. We would also provide invoices from Audi parts store." "Do we have a rental car available?" "No. The rental was handled by her insurance company." Now, Fix-It Queen had a partnership with her insurance company, so the insurance had already sent her a rental car company that came to pick her up. I presented Emma with a contract/power of attorney that reiterated what I had said verbally, advised that she pick up any belongings, and in 11-point font stated that any work done would have to be paid for before her vehicle could leave the shop. We didn't use small print for our contracts because corporate said so. I told Emma that she would owe a $500 deductible, according to her insurance company, when she came to pick it up. Emma signed, and I made a copy of her driver's license. Emma went outside with the rental car company agent. Let's call her Mystique. I filed her paperwork and returned to the lobby area to find Mystique and Emma standing there, both frustrated. Emma was mad that the rental car being given to her was a Chevrolet Impala and not an Audi. Mystique says, "Do you have an Audi or similar vehicle we could rent out to her?" I say no. We don't do rentals. We fix damaged cars. We don't rent them out. Emma sucked her teeth. "That's very rude of you to say. My insurance company said they would have another car like mine here for pickup, and I want another car like mine. I have 2 small children, and I need to keep them safe." I explained again to Emma that we could not do this, and she huffed, then sat down to call her insurance company. Mystique sat down to play on her phone. I guess I should explain that Fix-It Queen had a lobby area, and that they were sitting in the sofas in the lobby area, with Emma's 2 children playing around them. Emma talked very loudly to her insurance agent, and to escape the noise, I went to do my job. I went to Emma's Audi SUV, drove it into the shop, and assigned it to a technician. When I returned to my office, Emma was still on the phone, yelling about this substandard rental car. My boss came to the door of my office and asked what's going on, so I explained and told him I was taking care of it. I continued to ignore Emma's ranting on the phone and threats to drop her insurance company so I could call the Audi dealership to order parts. My contact there verified part prices and guaranteed delivery by the end of the workday. I sent the order to her insurance company to have payment transferred to us and went to tell Emma the good news. After a few more minutes, Emma got off the phone. She had been in the lobby for a little over an hour. I asked how things had gone with her insurance company. Emma basically stated that she was going to take her car and leave and would drop her insurance as no one was helpful. I asked Emma to hold on and went in the shop to find her car. Auto repair technicians usually work quickly because the more cars they work on, the more they can get paid. I found Emma's Audi SUV with both doors removed, the rear bumper loosened, and the tech was working to remove the right tail lamp. All of these steps were necessary to replace her damaged doors and quarter panel. I returned inside and told Emma what had happened, She shrieked at me. Shrieked and grabbed her hair because we had already started working on her car. She accused us of working on her car without permission, threatened to sue us, and called me an idiot. I went to the office, made a quick copy of her signed contract, and brought it to Emma. I told her that she had given us legally binding permission to work on her car and that we had begun work per the agreement. I also told her that in accordance with our work authorization, if she chose to remove her car, she would first have to pay the fees for the work already done. We would stop work until we could verify how we would receive payment. I also told her that Mystique would be able to advise the rental car company's fees on upgrading her rental. Over the next 3 days, Emma called several times. Her insurance called several times, and other collision repair shops called several times. Everyone wanted to know how repairs were going, what was going on, etc. My answers were always the same. Emma owed a single $200 USD bill for the labor involved in starting the repairs and cancelling the parts order, and after the first 24 hours, we were charging $25 per day in storage. We would not do any further work until we were paid for what had been done. By the end of the week, Emma came in personally, talked to my boss, and agreed to repairs as she was paying out of pocket for an Audi rental for her children. Her car was fixed by the end of the following week, but I think her insurance ended up dropping her because we charged them for storage fees in accordance with her contract.
Hey guys, I read Reddit here. For more juicy content just like that, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.